Hey, how are you? It's Bill Latka with Storylicio.us. We help you tell your company's story with video, social media, and by building community-building, engaging websites. So let's get right into this. This is video 2 of 3 videos about how to use NationBuilder. Our first video talked all about how to create a new page and add content to that page. This video, we're going to talk more detailed about how to change and add content to a page. And the third video will have about how to sort your people and how to send email to them, like email blasts. So let's get right to it. Here's our website, and just a real quick thing about how to get logged in. You should have your administrator send you a link to have a login to your site. And there's 2 ways to do it. Number 1 is you scroll to the bottom of this particular site, and in many of the NationBuilder sites, you'll see a way to log in. Sometimes there's a login button on the top. This one doesn't have it. Down below, this says sign in with Facebook, Twitter, or email. Well, you're going to want to log in by email, so you go ahead and click that link. This will give you your login page, and right here is how you, if you have an account, which you would have received, like I said, from your administrator, that's how you do it. Enter your email and your password here. Now I'm going to back up by clicking the back button on this browser and go to the top, and here's another way that you can log in. Right here is your domain name. If you do / and then type in admin, A-D-M-I-N, M-I-N, that'll take you to the same login page. That's how you get there. So go ahead and enter your email and password. I have it saved, so I'm just going to copy and paste it in there. There it is, and we're in. Now when you arrive at your Nation in the back end, this is what it looks like. Across the top here are all these different tabs that you can operate your website with. You may or may not see all these tabs depending on what your permissions are, and those are established by your administrator. For example, most people may not see settings or finances, but you will see people, website, and communication. So people is your people database. That's where all of your constituents are located, their emails, their phone numbers, all the whole 9 yards. Communication is where you're going to be sending emails, and like I said, we'll talk about that in video number 3. But today we're going to talk about the website. So if you hover over this, you'll see that the name of your website will pop up, and go ahead and click it. That will take you to basically the overview of what your site looks like on the back end. So these are individual pages on your site, these links. So home, what's up, about us, issues, donate, blog, environmentalist of the year. Now if you come over to the right here, you'll see, are they published or not? Well, it looks like this one is not published. It's just unlisted. So that's not going to appear on your site. The ones that we have in this particular site are up toward the top here. And when you're changing and adding content, it's really a good idea to have your site open and another tab on your browser so that you can go back and forth and see what it looks like on the front end and what it looks like on the back end. So I'm going to go ahead and on the top bar here, you see live site. I'm going to click that. It's going to open up the page in a new tab so I can see the front end. And like I said, I'm going to go switch back to the other tab here and see home, what's up, about us, issues, donate, and environmentals of the year. Well, they're the same ones that are here. So those are your top level pages. The stuff that floats down underneath are pages that are sub pages of those top level pages. So for instance, we have this issues page right here. If I click on this little number in parentheses, that tells me that there's a sub page to that main page issues. So if I click on the number 4 here, I'm going to see there's 4 different topics. Well, if I do the same thing on the front page, I go our issues, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's 5 because issues is repeated at the top. It's really 4 pages. So those are sub pages. That's important to know because you can put a page anywhere you like on your site based on what you make it a sub page of. So let's go real quick. Let's back up here. I'm going to click on this. These are breadcrumbs. This will help you go backwards on your site, or you can click the back button, either way. But I'm going to click on this one to get back, and I'm going to click on this What's Up page. So when I clicked on that, I'm seeing the first landing view of the activity that's been happening on this page. So it looks like I've done a lot of stuff. Somebody else created another page that is a subpage of this 9 days ago. This is just basically information purposes for you. Over here we have settings. On this tab, this shows you the basic settings of the page. What does that mean? What's up is the name of the page that will be used in the menu. So if I click over to the front end of the page here, that says what's up with an apostrophe S and a question mark. Now if I come down below, so that's what it's there, and if I wanted to change that, I could change that here. The slug is the web address of the page. So in a web address, you don't really want to have a question mark. You can't have a question mark, and you don't want to have any odd punctuation. So what happens is your slug will be basically the words of the page separated by underbars for spaces. You don't want to have a space in there either, and actually it probably won't let you keep a space in there. This is a subpage of. This is where you move the page to go somewhere else. So if I wanted to put this, right now you'll see it's a top level page, but if I wanted to, I could go here and type in the word home, and actually it's going to, any of the existing pages will automatically populate in here. I'm going to click on home, and when I'm done with that change, I'm going to go down here to save page, which is going to save it into the system. And when I reload the site on the front end, I'm going to see that what's up is gone, but it's been put underneath home because that's where it is. Down here, this is a subpage of home. So now it's a subpage of home. There it is. So it's a live site, so I'm going to switch this back right now so that nobody gets confused, and then I'm going to save it. So now it's switched back, and now it's once again in the top menu. If I reload the page, there it is again. Okay. Down here, title. This is what people will see on search engines. So in the first video, I changed this from just the name of the page to, it used to say just what's up, Northern Michigan Environmental Action Council. I changed it to what's happening at NEMIAC. It's a little bit more descriptive if somebody is not on the site. The headline right here is what appears. I'm going to go switch to the what's up page on the front end. That's the headline. So if you wanted to change that, that's where you do it here. Tag is a way to categorize your pages. Now we went into this in the first video, so I won't go into a whole lot here, but the thing is, if you put any tag in there, which is actually specifying the content of that page in a very easy to find way, that tag will show up on the front end of your website. So if I click on this tag, it even looks like a tag, this will show me all the pages that are marked trees. And well, right now there's only one of them. So I'm going to back up again to get to pages, but that's what you can see there. And for our purposes, I'm just going to delete that because it's not accurate right now. Status, published. This is when you publish a website and make it live to the world. Unlisted will make the page available on your website, but only if you have the link. So that's a way to work on a page without anyone seeing it. You could share it with your colleagues before you make it live, and then when everybody's happy, you come over to the status of the page and you go ahead and click on published. And once you're done with any of these changes, if you want to save them, of course, always save page. There are other things in there and you can play with those. Author, here's a way to switch who made the page. Now in this particular theme, I don't believe, well, maybe some of the places it shows who the author of the page was, usually in a blog or an event perhaps, but that would be how you would change the author if that did show up on the theme on the front end. You can change the published date here. If you want, you could change it to a date in the future, or if you're putting in old historic content, you could put it to a date in the past, and that way it's a way to kind of organize your content. All these 5 buttons here, they're pretty self-explanatory. Include in top nav. The nav stands for navigation, and this is your top nav on this particular site. So if you want it to appear up here, this is where you have to check that box so that it's up there. Because if I uncheck that and save the page, let's see what happens. I'm going to reload the page. Right now there's what's up. Reload the page and it's gone. So that would be a way to put something on your site that you don't want everybody to find unless you direct them there. So it's just something to think about. Go back to there, and I'm going to go ahead and put in the top nav again. The supporter nav is something that is when people are logged in or not, depending on what your theme is. These buttons here represent your supporter nav. Right now we have these two main pages located there. And if this was checked, well, it is checked. Isn't that funny? Well, it doesn't appear there because we're on this particular page. So it appears other places on the site when it's checked. And I don't really want that to be included. Show sidebar. Let me show you what that is real quick. I'm going to save this page to kind of make sure that we're all working on the same page here. Show sidebar. This is your sidebar. When you're logged out, you won't see this. This is just for you when you're logged in. But this is the sidebar. When I uncheck that and save the page, the sidebar goes away. I'm going to reload the page on the front end, and now you have a full width page. So that's how you change that. Really easy. Show stream and show comments. I'm going to save this page because I just turned the sidebar back on, go back up to the page. Here is your comment section. Allow people to chat with you on the page, which is really important because people may not always do this, but giving them the ability to give you feedback on certain pages. You probably don't want it on all your pages, but some of the pages you might. So that's how you do it. You turn on your comments there. And this right here is the stream. Anytime anybody leaves a message here, it will show up on the front end of the page. So that's how you kind of start a conversation with people. So that's how you turn those on or off using these buttons. Who can view this page? Usually you leave it to anyone. Okay? Make this the home page. Well, that's a way to switch and make this the home page. You probably don't want to do that. Make this the splash page. This is a curious thing. If you do this, this will be the first page that shows up when anybody comes to your site for the first time. If they come to your site a second time, then they'll see the regular website. But if you have something that's really big, if you've got a petition drive going on, or if you've got a big fundraising ask going on, and you want everybody to land on that page when they come to your website, you can switch it. You can turn this on and then save your page, and that will become the splash page of your site. You can only have one splash page per site at a time. So I'm going to make sure that everything is the way I like it. I save it, and I'm going to move on. Content. This is where your content is located. The content are the words and pictures on your site. I'm going to go ahead and reload this. That's the way it was before. So here's the content. It's the same as right here. So anything you type in this box, anything you type here will show up on the front end. Whenever I'm done, I save that content, reload the page, and there it is. Anything you type here. All right. So that's how you change the content on your page. It's pretty straight ahead. This is just a basic word processor. It has all the stuff that you would expect from a word processor. It has right here, if you select any text that you want to change, that's the first step with your mouse. And then this drop-down box will give you different headings. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all the way from giant headlines type headings, all the way to very small headings. A block quote is a quotation. Let me show you what a quotation looks like real quick. I'm going to go to the home page. We have a quotation down here. This gives it this formatting. It's a larger text. It puts this little quote right here, and that's the way to do that. Very simple. Let's back up again to the What's Up page. These are other little kinds of ways to display your information. Probably shouldn't get too tricky. Keep it basic with bold, italic, underline. Here's how to change the text color if you want to change anything special, which I would recommend against. Try to keep your text very minimal and very let the theme do the styling, which is what happens. These three here, and whenever you hover, obviously you can see that they're going to be changing, and they'll give you little tool tips about what each little button does. So align left, align center, align right on the page. So that's how you do that. Here's a way to do a bullet list. Let me do a bullet list here. I'm just going to type in the words 1, 2, 3. I'm going to highlight these and turn it into a numbered list. That's a numbered list rather. So 1, 2, 3. I want that and so anything I continue to type in here is going to be, to just go to the next line, and that's like an automatic thing. This is something that you see in any word processing program. Or I could change this to a bulleted list by just clicking this list here, and it'll give me that. If you hit return once, you're going to get another line. If you hit a second time, it's going to pop you out of that list. So that's how you kind of get past that list, is hit return on your keyboard or enter on your keyboard twice. So I'm going to get rid of that for now. Just going to delete it with my delete key on the keyboard. Next thing to look at here is your indent. If I select this text and move it to the right, move it to the left, that's how you do that. Next thing is a link. So if I select some text and I click on this Insert Edit Link tab, it brings up a URL, text to display, title, and target. A URL is the web address of your page, of your link. So if you want to send something on your site, say I wanted to send it to Environmentalist of the Year, for instance. I click on that page. I go ahead and if I do this on my site, I don't need to copy the domain, which is this up here. I only want to copy the / after the domain plus the rest of the name of the page. So I'm going to Command C for copy, or Control C on a PC. Or I can right click on it and click on copy, right click with my mouse. I'm going to come over here to this tab and I'm going to paste it in here I'm going to right click on it and click on paste. And there's the link. This is the text that you highlighted down here. The target. This is a way to send people to change the website page that you're leaving from and change it into a new page. If you click on none, the entire page will change, and I'll show you what that looks like here. I'm going to click on that, save the page, come on over here. Oops, go back to What's Up, which is where we were editing in the first place. There's the link that we just added. I'm going to click on that, and the entire page changed, right? So I'm going to back up for a second, go back to edit the page, and I want to edit this link. So I'm going to just click on it once, and look at that. Right down there, I have a little contextual menu. I'm going to edit this link, and I'm going to change the target of the page to New Window, and click OK. Let's see what happens when that happens. I'm going to save the content, reload the page. Now watch what happens. I have two links open here. This is my page I'm working on. If I click this link, it opens another tab, and my other page is already there. So if you want to keep people on your site without sending them somewhere else, or if you have, say you have a PDF that you're trying to share, and that's a link to a PDF or another file, and you want them to stay on your site, then you can go back when you enter links, go ahead and make this link target New Window. Okay, so right now I don't want that link in there, so I'm just going to click this button here, remove link. All right. Next, pictures. So the thing about pictures is that you need to upload them to your site, and then you need to insert them into your page. So here's how you do that. Up here in your tabs, you're probably wondering what all these were for. Well, over here we have one called Files. It may not be located on every page in the exact same spot, but every page will have the ability to add a file. So I'm going to go ahead and command click on this so that it opens in a new tab. That makes it easier for me to edit. So I'm going to hold down the command key and click on the file name, and that opened in a new tab up here. That's basically a big blank page. This is where you add your photos or your PDFs or any document that you want to share. Even if it's a Word document, you can add that here. So two ways to do it. This says drag and drop onto this page. Well, that's easy. I'm just going to go to my desktop here and find an image. There it is. I'm going to drag it on there and drop it. And there you go. There's the file. The other way I can do it is I could click this button, navigate to my wherever it is on my computer, find the file, and I can upload it here. So there's 2 images. When I come back over to my original page, I'm going to reload the page. Reload that page. Looks like I didn't save it last time. I'm going to get rid of that link. But now I'm going to put the cursor where I want that image to appear. I'm just going to hit return once on my keyboard. And then I'm going to come over here to my Insert Edit Image tab. When I click on that, I get a dialog box. It asks me, what is the source? Well, I don't need to know the source because on my image list here, right here, I get my images that I just uploaded. So if I choose this, and what I should do, what you always should do, is give your images a name. It's going to come up with the file name and put this in here. This image description is something that will help your website get found. So describe what the photo is. So I know from past experience, this is people at a meeting. And then I'm going to say OK and add that image to the page. And there it is. So I want to edit that image because I don't like something about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image. See how it's highlighted? I'm going to click on the image, insert image tab, click on that. There's there's the thing again. Now there's the source. That's the actual link to the actual image. You don't need to know anything about that. It's figured automatically when you put that image in initially. But say I wanted to make this kind of be to the right of my text. So I'm going to cancel this for a second. What I'm going to do, if I want that image to kind of float to the right of my text, I'm going to take this image, I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it. And I don't know if you can see this, but right underneath there's a little tiny cursor. I'm probably getting too complicated here, but there's a little tiny cursor. And if I drag that up to the beginning of that first line and drop it, oops, I missed it, see? And I drop it there, the image is now the first thing that happens on the page. And then this other stuff is like follows along in the same line. But I want to get that to float to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this thing, Align Right. So that image now, and I'm going to open that window a little bit, that image is now floating to the right of your text. And if I click on Save Content, then I look at the page and reload it, now my image is floating to the right of my text. Now there's 2 things I don't like about this. Number one is the text is touching the image right there. See that comma is almost right. It doesn't look very good. You need to add a little spacing there, and that's easy to do. The other thing I don't like is that this image is a little too big. So I'm going to go back to that editing page, and I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to click on this image so I can edit it. Click on it, and then right here, Insert Edit Image button. Click that again. Now I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is make that image smaller. Now here's the thing. I went into this a little bit before in the first video. You want to insert images that are pretty much the same size that you're going to be using on your site. What you don't want to do is get a giant image from somewhere that could be 3, 4, 5, 7 megabytes, which is really big for the web, and put it up and use a little tiny image. You don't want to put up an image that's giant and end up only showing it on the page this big. You know why? It's the same image that you're showing, but you're shrinking it down, and you've got a giant image that takes up a lot of bandwidth to download, and it makes your site slower and less usable for people, especially on mobile, or if they have a very slow internet connection or a very old computer. So I would imagine that you want it, or it's always a very good practice to change the size of the image in an image editing application. I use Photoshop. There are others out there. You can probably do this from a basic Windows editing thing. I don't know what they all are. You'll have to look around. Some you're going to have to Google yourself. But that's how you basically you want to make the image the size that you want to display it. So this is pretty close, and I know that for a fact that this image size, the kilobytes of the size of the image are very small. It's less than 1 megabyte. So I'm going to, just for the purposes of this demonstration, show you how to just modify it a little bit, right? So over here is the dimensions of the image. This image right now says it's 550 pixels wide. Well, I think I might want to have this at like 300 pixels wide. So if I just select that text with my mouse, type in the number 300, and then hit tab on my keyboard to tab out of that. that will automatically adjust the size of the image. So this is the width of the image, and that's the height of the image. And conversely, if I do it here, say if I want this image to be 200 pixels high, and then hit tab, oops, hit the wrong button, hit tab, well, it's going to adjust my dimensions there. So let's leave it like that for now. This constrained proportion should always be on. Otherwise, you could squish or stretch your image. You don't want to do that. And then I'm going to click OK. Well, there you go. That image is much smaller. Now, when I save the content and look at it on the front end, reload the page, the image is smaller and it looks right to me, but I still am not happy about how close this text is. Right now, this text is not particularly touching like it was before, but I want to put a little padding between the edge of this paragraph text and the edge of the image. But I'm going to come back over here, click on the image, click on the Insert Edit Image, and then I'm going to go to Advanced. Don't be afraid. Advanced. Float right is what we did when we moved the image to the right. Now I want to add some horizontal space to this image. If I click, I'm going to put 10 in here for 10 pixels. Hit tab, and you see what this did? You're writing code right now when you do this. This gave it a margin right of 10 pixels, and it gave it a margin left of 10 pixels. So that's going to give a little bit of padding, or a little bit of margin on the right and the left of the image. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to click OK, save the content, reload the page so I can see what it looks like. Now watch this right now. Watch what happens. See the as is right next to it. When I reload that page, now I have a little bit more space, and that looks nicer. It added a little space here too, which I don't really like. I would rather have something that is right flush to the edge. But here, it's touching this horizontal rule. See how that blue goes right there and here? I don't like that. So I should add some padding, or some margin rather, to the bottom. Let's go back over here. I'm going to click on the image. I'm going to click on Insert Edit Image. Go back to Advanced. And then this is where I can add vertical space. So if I type in 10 pixels here and hit tab, watch what happens up here. It made all the margins all the way around 10 pixels. Well, now I'm going to have 10 pixels on the top, bottom, right, and left, and I don't want that. What I want is 10 pixels on the left and 10 pixels on the bottom. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear these. I'm going to erase this margin like that, and I'm going to type in this. I'm going to say margin, oops, dash left, colon, space, 10 px, semicolon. So margin, colon, 10 pixels, 10 px, semicolon. That is HTML code for give me a margin on the left of 10 pixels. I want a margin on the bottom of 10 pixels. So I'm going to say margin, bottom, colon, 10 pix, semicolon. And now I've put a margin on the bottom of 10 pixels. Click OK, save the content, reload the page, and look at that. It looks exactly like we want it. There's enough space here between the paragraph and the image. There's space between this horizontal rule, and it's nice and flush to the right. So that is essentially how you do that. Now, one thing that you should know is, let me find on my computer here, I want to put a PDF up here, because that's something that I think a lot of nonprofit groups will want to do is if they have a PDF of some sort of, I don't know, a form, or if it's a document or a publication and you want to share it as a PDF, you don't really want to embed and show that PDF on your website. You rather send a link to it. So I'm going to go back over here to Files. I'm going to click on Command and the word Files to open it in a new tab. I'm going to go select Files to upload, and I'm going to navigate to a PDF that I happen to have on my desktop. I'm just going to find any old one that I can find. I should have some PDFs here somewhere. Got a lot of zip files, CSV. Oh, there's one. I have no idea what this is, but I'm going to click on that. That's a PDF, and I'm going to upload this PDF to the website by clicking Open. There it goes. It's uploading, and there it is. Okay, so if I want to put this as a link, what I'm going to do is right click on this with my mouse, which gives you this contextual window from your browser, and I'm going to copy the link address. So if I copy that link address, that's going to show me this the link to this file. And if I come back over here to my page and I want to type in, say, read our PDF about this, and I want to make this a link, I'm going to select it, come over here to link, and for the URL, this time I'm going to just paste it in there with Command V on my keyboard or Control key on a Mac. And there is the entire link to that document that you just uploaded. I click, and I also want to open this in a new window. So the target, like we learned before, I'm going to change this to new window. Click OK, save the content, come back over to our live page, reload the page. There's read our PDF about this. Now when I click this, it opens a new page, and there it is. I have no idea who this is or how I got this, but Sandra Bocatirio, thank you very much for helping us. So that's how you insert a PDF into your page. So let's go back to the live site. I'm going to get rid of that and save the content. Now, some other things you can do to add more content or change content in your page. Say you have some tabular data. Say you have like I don't know what you're doing. You just want to show something on a month and attendees. I want to put that in a table. So I don't want to put it there because I don't want to have a lot of spaces and stuff. And if you know word processing programs, you could really make a mess. So I'm going to get rid of that. Just delete it. Over here, here's a way to add a table. Look at that. You'll hover over it. It says table. And over here, table, you can select how many columns wide and how many rows deep. So let's say it's 2 wide, and let's say it's say 5, 2 times 5. I'm going to click that. It inserts a table. That's pretty cool. So now I can say months in this column, attendees in that column, and I can start filling out my tabular data. January, Feb, March, April. 100 people showed up in January, 115 in April. March was a lousy month, 25, and April 300 people came. Now, this, when you click on a table, now you have a way to make some changes. Say if I wanted to add a row after, I can come here and click on insert row after. That'll give me a new row. If I don't want to do that, I can delete that row. Just make sure that I'm in there and click on delete. If I want to add a column before, I could do that. If I want to get rid of that column, delete column. There you go. And then the other thing is you can resize this column to put it where you want it. Now I want to style this a little bit. Very simpler. I'm just going to make the top bold. And then I'm going to save this. Let's reload the page, see what it looks like. There's my column. I got a little mess around with it to make it feel better, but that's pretty simple. I'll tell you what, if you wanted to create a table. So let's get rid of that because I think we're done messing around with that. Other things that you should know, right here, horizontal line. This will show you a little horizontal rule. Let's save that and take a look at it. There's the horizontal line. In this theme, it's a rather faint line. That's okay. What's this one? Clear formatting. If you ever paste something in from Microsoft Word, it comes with a lot of formatting that you don't see, and it'll give you unexpected results. So the best practice is really to paste only text into your document and then format it here the way that you want to see it. Or if you happen to copy and paste from Microsoft Word or another Word editing document, you want to select that text. Let's do this. Let's make this bold, let's make this underline, let's just pretend like we have all sorts of stuff that we came in from Microsoft Word and we don't like the look of that here. So I'm going to select that text and then click on this clear formatting tab. That gets rid of all the formatting. So you can start from scratch and make it look good the way that you want here. Okay? Remember, as you do your stuff and then when you're done, go ahead and click Save Content, and that will make sure that your work is not lost. I'm going to get rid of this line. I'm just going to put it afterwards, the cursor, and then hit my backspace on my keyboard to delete that. The last thing that you should see, actually two last things. One is, see this button? Full screen. This will allow you to edit this. If you got a lot of text, you can edit your thing full screen. That's pretty handy. So you don't have to kind of scroll back and forth to see what you're doing. I'm going to close the full screen aspect of it. The final thing I want to show you about adding content is this button here, source code. If you know anything about HTML, which is the formatting code of the internet, you can click this. This shows you what the HTML looks like in your website. If you ever have anything that doesn't make any sense, that when you're looking at it from the front end and you've got this horrible, like all these spaces here, and you're trying to figure out how to get rid of them, like this space right here, but you can't be able to do it. There's a crazy word, FGFJKD. So I can click on source code, and I can see, look at all that stuff there. Here's all these spaces. That's a paragraph tag, non-breaking space, and a closed paragraph tag. I can delete that. I can delete that. I'm going to back this up a little bit. I'm going to capitalize this here just for fun, and then get rid of this trailing space. I just clean that up. If I click OK, then we're back in business. So you may not need to use that, but it's good to know that it's there. And you can always look on the web, just Google HTML code, and you'll have about a million resources about how to figure out what HTML is and how to style your web page. Now, usually, like I said, your theme will take care of most of your formatting, and I think you should just concentrate on content. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just make sure that it looks decent in the back end, that it's legible, that you've got your numbers and your punctuation and your spelling all right. And when you save that and reload your page, you'll see that the theme is going to take care of most of the stuff. All right? So if you have any other questions about how to move pages around, we dealt with that a little bit, or actually a lot, in the first video. So like these buttons and stuff, if you want to figure out how to do that, go look at that first video. I want to cut this one off now because I think we covered how to change and add content to your website. So if you like this video, go ahead and click like below. I know it was long and lengthy, but a lot of people don't really know much about this thing, so I wanted to do what I could do to help. So stay tuned for our next video, which is how to filter people and how to send email blasts to them in NationBuilder. I'm Bill Latka, Storylicious. Thanks a lot, and enjoy your day. Bye.